finally, and most importantly, and with a few Americans at the table and an Australian, this definitely needs to be said, this is not a shot drinking competition. We do have to drink our Jameson whiskey, that's the one in the middle, 4 times. So please keep enough Jameson for 4 tastings. Now you can knock back the Scotch and you can knock back the American, that's not a problem. Just keep enough Jameson for 4 tastings. So I'll get you all to start off with a sip of water there, everybody. So drink of water. And this is what they have in front of them. 3 whiskies. Jameson in the middle, Scotch on their left, and the American whiskey is on their right. We are beginning with the Jameson. That is the whiskey in the middle. I want you to smell that and have a little taste of it. So everybody, what they're drinking is our 5-year-old Jameson. It is our flagship whiskey, so it's our biggest seller, but it's also the world's biggest selling Irish whiskey. Now when you tasted that, you should have got a honey vanilla taste. Now that comes from our sherry barrels and our bourbon barrels that we use in maturation. It is also a very smooth whiskey. Now if you don't drink whiskey, that won't be too obvious, but it will become more apparent as we go on to the other whiskeys. So please have a drink of water after that, everybody. Do you want to organize that? And we're going to go for the Scotch whiskey. Before we do, any Scots here today? Anybody from Scotland? No? Good stuff. What is Scotch drinkers? Slowly a minute. Okay, this Scotch is very successful. It is the world's biggest selling 12-year-old Scotch. It is a premium Scotch. It is Johnny Walker Black Label. So I'll get you all to smell the Scotch. That's the one on your left. When you smell that, you should get a smoky smell. Now I want you to taste it. And if you couldn't smell the smokiness, you should definitely be able to taste it. Now after your Scotch whiskey, please drink your Jameson whiskey. No water if you can, we'll do a direct comparison. Yeah, they should be quite different. Now guys, what I want you to pick up on here is that the Jameson does not have a smoky taste. Did we all get that? Yeah? Now can anybody remember part 2? Why would a Scotch whiskey have a smoky taste and why would a Jameson whiskey not? There you go. The reason why is in Scotland, a lot of distilleries, like Johnny Walker, will light the fire to dry the barley into malt using peat or turf, and that's where the smokiness comes from. At Jameson, we've got our smokeless fuel, so we don't have a smoky taste. But another drink of water there, everyone. How many Americans do I have to say that again? Americans? Yeah. So do I have any other Americans here? It is American whiskey. It's the biggest selling American whiskey in the world, as well as the biggest selling whiskey in the world. If you drink alcohol, you've definitely drank this whiskey at one point or another. Can anybody guess which American whiskey this is? Jack Daniels. Now I know Jack Daniels can bring back some bad memories or no memories at all. You should try to go through this. I want you all to smell the Jack Daniels. That's the whiskey on your right. And when you smell that, you should get a sweet smell. Now I want you to taste it. And when you taste it, you should get a sweet taste, as well as hints of woodiness or oakiness, if you can pick up on that. So that's the American whiskey. Let's go back to our Jameson to compare those there again. Now, these two are polar opposites. It is actually quite difficult to compare these and to find similarities. The biggest differences I want you to focus on are that Jack Daniels is sweeter than Jameson, and it has a woody flavour that Jameson does not have. Did we all get that? Yeah? So the reason why the American whiskey is sweeter than Jameson is because they use maize or corn, or we use barley. And that is just a naturally sweeter cereal, so it's naturally going to make the whiskey sweeter. The next bit, I'm going to see if anybody can guess this. Can anybody guess, why would the American whiskey have a woody flavour and why would the Jameson whiskey not? New barrels. The reason why is in the US, once Prohibition ended and the Great Depression ended, a law was passed that forced American whiskey distilleries to use new barrels to mature their whiskey. The idea behind this at the time was to set the cooper industry up in the States and to keep it going. The law has actually been repealed, so it's no longer mandatory. They do continue to use new barrels because they're very famous for the woody flavour now. And also there are thousands of coopers employed in the States. There is a big responsibility there as well. It In Ireland, we never had any law like that. We all had new barrels at the beginning. We all pretty much switched to seasoned barrels. And at Jameson, we have our bourbon, sherry, and port barrels, and that's how the woody flavour is also. So have another drink of water there, everyone. And then I want you to go back to your Jameson, go back to the whiskey in the middle, and I want you to drink that one last time. So you can knock it back if you want this time. And did you all find that the Jameson whiskey is a bit smoother than the Scotch and a lot smoother than the American whiskey? I'll take that as a huge yes. Does anybody remember from our tour, why should Jameson be smoother than a Scotch and smoother than the American whiskey? Triple distilled. So Jameson is distilled 3 times, the Scotch has been distilled twice, the American whiskey has been distilled once. So guys, you come to the end of our whiskey tasting. You seem like 8 highly intelligent people so far. This next question is going to determine the levels of intelligence. So please brace yourselves, okay? I'm going to ask every single one of you to pick your favourite of those 3 whiskeys. And what I want you to do is I want you to place your favourite whiskey at the top of your mat. Now please do not be intimidated by the fact you're at the Jameson bar and the Jameson Distillery, or that I've been shouting at you for the last 40 minutes by Jameson. Be perfectly honest. The best whiskey is to the top of your mat.
Are you telling us we don't have to be correct?
No. No, don't worry. What you're going to pick. Okay, so we have got Jameson, 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 Jameson. Back to you, and Jameson. They've got 2 incorrect answers. Are you Tom?
Yes.
Tom has picked the Scotch, is it? And so has Ray. Ray's picked the Scotch. Unfortunately, it does mean the 2 of you have failed the test. Okay, so you're going to come back down to reception, repeat that inspirational tour again and again and again. Or the 2 of you can tell me your second favourite whiskey in the month. Second best? Ray's got it. There we go. Like that is,
Well,
yeah?
I don't understand. I have to get an exemption. I was in Scotland for 5 days before I came here.
How long have you been here?
Today.
Okay, we'll see what you're
You
like.
gotta give me an exemption. You gotta get me used to this.
How
I
many
gotta
days?
get off this.
How many days you spent in Ireland?
Today.
Just 1 day.
How many days are you going?
How many? Another 6.
Okay, that should be fine. Okay. So guys, that is 6 out of 8 correct answers. Ray and Tom got there in the end. Give them all a big round of applause. Now, because most of you did okay, I'm going to run away for a second. I have a little surprise, so I need you to stay here. And if anybody's friends or family is watching them nice and drunk up here, you're more than welcome to take all of their whiskey from them, drink it for yourselves, and come back and say,
Better get the last rest of it.